By the third murder, Hale understood one thing. This wasn't random. The victims all lived within a mile of old crime scenes from unsolved cases. Each time, the killer was escalating, taunting the police with riddles and near misses. Surveillance cameras caught only glimpses, a blurred figure in a hood, moving just out of frame. It was as if he knew where every camera was placed before the police did. Then came the phone calls. Distorted voice. Low, calm. Tick-tock, Detective Hale. You've got 9 years left. The line would always go dead before tracing could begin. Each call came from a different disposable phone, each murder more calculated than the last. The pocket watches were all different, but everyone stopped at the exact same time. 10:04 p.m. Hale couldn't shake the feeling that this time meant something, a clue buried deep beneath the killer's twisted game. The department grew desperate. The mayor called for federal help, but Hale refused to back down. This is my city, he said. My case. But deep down, he knew he was being played. Every step he took, every move he made, the killer was already two ahead. And somewhere out there, in the quiet of the night, a watch kept ticking, waiting for the next victim. Detective Elias Hale hadn't left the precinct in 3 days. The watchmaker's voice echoed in his head. Tick-tock, detective. 9 years left. Hale replayed every phone call, every grainy CCTV frame, every crime scene photo. There had to be a connection, something hidden in plain sight. Then it hit him. The pocket watches, they weren't just trophies, they were a timeline. Each one was antique, from a different decade, engraved with a small number on the back. Hale's heart raced when he realized the numbers weren't random. Together they formed a sequence, a set of coordinates. It led to an abandoned clock tower on the outskirts of Graybridge, a place the city had forgotten. Hale knew he should have waited for backup, but instinct told him he didn't have time. Inside, the air was thick with dust and rust. The floor creaked under his boots as he moved deeper, flashlight trembling in his hand. Then in the dim light, he saw it. Dozens of pocket watches hanging from the ceiling by thin wires, all stopped at 10:04. In the center of the room sat an old chair, and on it, a tape recorder. Hale pressed play. The watchmaker's voice filled the air. Detective Hale, always chasing time. You're close, but too close. Let's see how fast you can really move. A sharp click followed. Hale barely had time to react before a small explosion tore through the corner of the room, sending shards of glass and metal flying. He dove for cover, ears ringing. When he opened his eyes, he saw something new written across the cracked wall in red paint. 9 years, and still too slow. The killer had known he'd come alone. It was all part of the plan. A test. Hale staggered out of the ruins, fury burning in his chest. The watchmaker wasn't just a killer. He was a strategist, turning every move into a message. And now Hale realized, this wasn't about random murders. It was about him. The killer was keeping score, and time was running out. 2 months passed since the clock tower explosion, and Detective Elias Hale was still recovering, both physically and mentally. The watchmaker had vanished, leaving the city in uneasy silence. No new murders, no messages, no calls. It was as if he disappeared into thin air. But Hale knew better. The watchmaker was never truly gone. He was waiting. Then one cold November morning, Hale got the call. A body had been found in an abandoned parking lot on the east side. Same MO, staged victim, red writing, and a pocket watch. But something felt off the moment he arrived. The handwriting was messier, rushed. The pocket watch was a cheap replica, not the vintage pieces the watchmaker always used. Hale crouched beside the body, his eyes narrowing. This isn't him, he muttered. Someone's imitating him. The message on the wall read, 10 years and your time is up. But Hale noticed the detail that cracked the illusion. The real watchmaker always used red oil paint, not blood. Whoever this was, they didn't know that. Someone was trying to stir the fear again, or worse, send a message on the killer's behalf. Back at the precinct, forensic analysis confirmed it. The DNA didn't match the watchmaker's previous crime scenes. The blood on the wall belonged to the victim. But then came the twist. The fake pocket watch had Something scratched inside its cover. A single word, tick. Hale's stomach turned. The copycat wasn't mocking the killer. They were working for him. The watchmaker had found a way to multiply himself, to extend his reach. And this new accomplice was bolder, more reckless. Exactly the kind of distraction that could drag Hale deeper into the web. As the sun set over Graybridge, Hale stared at the evidence board filled with watches, maps, and photos. Every second hand on every clock in his office pointed to 10:04. The game wasn't just continuing, it was evolving, and Hale could feel it. The watchmaker was coming back. The trap in plain sight. Detective Elias Hale decided he'd had enough of reacting. It was time to set the bait. For months, he studied every letter, photo, and clue left behind. The watchmaker had a pattern. He always struck near places tied to old crimes, cases where justice had failed. So Hale built a fake case file, one designed to look like a perfect target, a story of corruption, betrayal, and unsolved murder. He made sure it leaked to the press. Within a week, a new message appeared. Same style, same paint. Nice try, Hale. But I choose the time. Hale smirked bitterly. The trap had worked, but not in the way he hoped. The watchmaker was watching him. That night, Hale returned home to find his front door slightly open. Every instinct screamed danger. Inside, his apartment was untouched, except for one thing. On his dining table sat a single pocket watch, stopped at 10:04, ticking softly before it died. A note lay beneath it. "You're running out of time, detective." The following weeks blurred into exhaustion. Hale could feel the killer tightening the circle. The phone calls returned, each one shorter, more personal. "You think this is about murder," the voice said once. "It's about you learning how slow justice really moves." One night, Hale received footage. Grainy CCTV showing a shadow, placing a pocket watch at the police memorial downtown. The timestamp, 10:04 p.m. Hale rushed to the scene, and there it was. Another message painted across the statue. One last hour. The watchmaker was signaling the end. But whose? Hale or his own? Then for the first time, a break. Forensic techs found a partial fingerprint on the inside of the watch cover. A match to Aaron Dorsey, a former crime scene photographer fired years ago for tampering with evidence. Hale's pulse raced. Dorsey had access, knowledge, and a reason to hate the system. Everything fit. A SWAT team stormed Dorsey's last known address, an old warehouse on the riverfront. The place was empty, except for a wall covered in photographs of Hale, his family, his home, his car. And in the center, a countdown clock. 10 minutes left. The final hour. The clock struck 10:04 p.m. Hale's phone buzzed. "Congratulations, detective," the voice whispered. "You finally found me." Now find yourself. Before Hale could answer, an explosion ripped through the other side of the warehouse. The countdown clock fell, shattering into pieces. Amid the chaos, Hale spotted movement, a figure limping toward the back exit. He drew his weapon, shouting, "Dorsey, don't move!" The man turned. His face was half burned, his eyes sharp and calm. "You were never meant to catch me, Hale," he said, smiling faintly. "You were meant to understand me." "Understand what?" Hale demanded. "That time always wins." He reached into his coat. Hale fired. The man dropped instantly, a pocket watch rolling from his hand and stopping at 10:04 one last time.